At the end of each liturgical year, the readings for Sunday Masses bring our attention to the end of the world. You could hear in the prophet Malachi and the Gospel of Luke how the theme of the end of times is very prevalent this Sunday. Lo, says Malachi, a day like an oven is coming. The sky is falling, basically. And I know for about 50% of you, it felt like the sky was falling last Wednesday morning. I know that for the other 50% of you, it felt like a day of Christmas, Wednesday morning. So no matter how you felt about these elections last week, let me tell you one thing: sky is not falling. As Jesus said in the Gospel, the day is near but not yet. And he said this 2,000 years ago, so I think we are pretty safe saying that not here yet can meet another 2,000 years. Now, before I focus on the end of times, allow me to share with you my experience from last Thursday. I was blessed enough to visit the Vatican Museum in Rome, and of course you could not go there and not spend some time in the Sistine Chapel. If you have been there, you know it is full of beautiful murals and paintings by Michelangelo. On the ceiling, you see multiple panels with the story of creation and other Genesis stories. Most people walk around Sistine Chapel looking at the ceiling and bouncing into each other all the time because you want to focus on what is above. These are very beautiful, very uplifting, very positive pictures. God creating the world out of nothing, God separating the waters from dry land, God creating Adam with the famous two hands almost touching. It's really amazing, and I think one of the best pieces of art ever created. But this is the ceiling, very happy, very positive story. Now on the main wall, behind the high altar, Michelangelo painted the scene of the Last Judgment. And most people don't focus too much attention on that main wall painting. In the Last Judgment, there is Jesus in the middle and a bunch of damned souls suffering at the bottom, and a few happy souls floating up to heaven. Now, that painting of Michelangelo is not very happy or uplifting. It doesn't make you feel warm inside. That painting of Michelangelo can be scary, can be confusing. That painting of Michelangelo should make you stop in your tracks and ask yourself a question: which side am I going to end on? Now, our lives are not unlike that Sistine Chapel. Many times we focus on good and positive moments of our lives. Many times we look up and we see God in action. We see God touching our lives. We are uplifted by the message of the gospel. We feel good when we say, I believe in God who loves me. unconditionally. But also, we have to find time in our lives to look at the different painting of Michelangelo. We have to accept that not every single day of our lives will be happy and warm and cozy. We have to, as adults, learn how to process happy moments and scary days. As Jesus says in the Gospel, that days will come when you will have to give testimony. So, no matter how you feel about this election last week, you have to give testimony. Your job and my job as people of faith is to give testimony to truth and justice, and to love your neighbor, no matter how she or he voted. The end of the world is not coming tomorrow. But what Michelangelo understood clearly, what you can see both in the ceiling and behind the high altar in the Sistine Chapel, God is in control. Our politicians want us to believe that they are in control. People want you to be afraid of elections, of congressmen and senators and presidents. But no matter if you were happy for the last 8 years under Obama or unhappy for the last 8 years under Obama, the presidents and the politicians do not control your lives. If you can find faith in yourselves like Michelangelo did, you know that God is in control. God controls the history of humankind. God controls your own history. And your job is to give testimony. Your job is to stand for what is truth and for what is just. And our job is to create a Sistine Chapel every day of our life. Our job is to integrate the beauty of creation and learn how to live with God, who creates a story in history that can be scary at times. As you move on to your life, remember that God controls your life, that God has a charge over each one of us, and you and I are called to give testimony and love each other. Amen.